said in his confession that Puffy, he put a hit on Tupac and Suge for $1 million. And also he put a bounty on the death row chain. That's not good enough to bring him in.
I don't really see it happening. You know, if he didn't have anything to do with it, that he wouldn't mind coming in and talking about it. So then after the fight, there was an after party that everybody who was somebody was going to this after party, and everybody knew where it was.
Tupac's murder investigation is back in the news, and boy, are things heating up again. At least it appears so for Diddy. A retired officer who was one of the first to respond to the 1996 shooting has shared some new details about the prime suspect.
I mean, that's how the street works. You know, if you beat somebody like him up, there's going to be repercussions. He's going to come after you. And
during a recent interview with The Art of Dialogue, Chris Carroll spilled the beans about Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, who's currently under scrutiny for the shooting that went down in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996.
That bringing him in for questioning, well, he would have to be he'd have to be willing to do that. You know, he doesn't have to say anything.
According to Carroll, this guy, Keefe D., has been shooting his mouth off for a couple of years now, openly telling everybody that he's part of the murder. He claims that Keefe D. openly said, "I handed him the gun." Well, that makes him part of this murder, referring to Orlando Anderson, his nephew, as the shooter.
Somebody's shooting. You know, it turns out there's 14 shots, so in a very short period of time. So, very quick, loud, hard, violent shooting.
The retired officer also mentioned rumors about evidence connecting Keefe D. to the murder after 27 years. He said, "I've heard rumors that he even had sold some items that he told people, were there that night." It's pretty surprising that not only is he admitting to involvement in a murder, but also trying to profit from it. The internet seemed pretty convinced by the story he was telling, with one user commenting, "This guy seems really genuine, but if he's right, then it's a damn shame that we had to lose a legend over a stupid, petty gang beef and a series of dumb decisions." I hate to think of Pac as bringing it on himself, but that's what it looks like. Another person pointed out how Tupac's murder was just too well orchestrated to be a random act of violence. An undercover FBI member was posing as death row security while all those happened. If y'all think this wasn't a government assassination, you're mistaken. The Fall Guys scapegoats are who we are talking about, but too much professionalism went down for it to be a retaliation and lead to the fall of death row in totality. And this person highlighted how the time to bring Diddy to justice might be long gone by now. Diddy ain't about to say nothing. The case is old AF. He got off this long. He has bread and high-powered lawyers from years ago with Shine and Jenny. It's a wrap. Ain't getting nothing from Diddy. Take that. Last week, authorities found some bullets at Keefe D's home and sent them for forensic examination to see if they're linked to Tupac's death. The Las Vegas police also recovered several .40 caliber bullets during a search warrant at Keefe D's wife, Paula Clemens' residence in Henderson, Nevada. Keefe D., a former member of the Southside Compton Crips and the uncle of Pac's alleged killer, Orlando Anderson, has repeatedly admitted to playing a role in the rapper's 1996 murder. He even blamed Diddy for getting him caught up in this bull SHT. A police source mentioned that they've kept forensic evidence from Tupac's death scene and body in secure storage for over 25 years, including bullets and clothing. They're hoping the recently found bullets might provide some vital links to the case. However, it's still uncertain if these bullets are indeed from 1996. And you know what the most interesting part is? Chris Carroll isn't even the first detective to connect the dots when it comes to Tupac's murder. Back in 2006, things got pretty intense when Biggie Small's mother decided to reopen his murder case. Valletta Wallace sued the LAPD for a whopping $500 million, claiming they covered up her son's death. That got the case back on the table, and it landed in the hands of LAPD detective Greg Kading. Now, Kading didn't expect what he'd find during the investigation. He started connecting the dots and came to a bold conclusion. The murders of Tupac and Biggie were related. Yeah, you heard that right. He dug up new info linking both cases and raised some serious questions about Diddy's involvement in Tupac's murder. According to Kading's 3-year investigation, it seems like Puff Daddy might have put a $1 million hit on Tupac and Suge Knight. It all came down to that infamous rap beef involving Puff and Biggie. Apparently, Diddy had some gang connections in LA and hired a Crips member, Keffy D, to do the dirty work. But hold up, who was the one who actually pulled the trigger on Tupac? Kading claims it was a Crips gang member called Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. The original plan was for Keffy D to do it, but they messed up and ended up targeting the wrong side of Tupac's car. So Keffy's nephew took the shot instead, taking Tupac's life and injuring Suge Knight. Crazy, right? Now, there were some rumors about Biggie's then-wife, Faith Evans, being in the loop about Diddy's plot to get rid of Tupac. After Tupac's murder, Keffy D claims he contacted Diddy and Evans to let them know they were responsible for it all. But, and this is crucial, Kading insists that Biggie had nothing to do with Tupac's murder, despite their famous rap beef. He says Big had no idea about Diddy's sinister plans. The plot thickens even further. After Tupac's murder, Suge Knight supposedly got back at him by hiring a Bloods gang member to take out Biggie. This hitman, known as Wardell Poochie Faust, allegedly got $13,000 for the job. Poochie fired shots at Biggie's car while he was leaving a party thrown by Vibe magazine. And sadly, Biggie didn't make it. But here's the kicker. The LAPD eventually dropped the investigation, even with all the digging Kading did. They managed to brush off the $500 million case brought on by Biggie's mom. Kading, though, got removed from the task force due to a separate internal affairs investigation, but he was cleared of any charges. Some folks still see him as a rogue cop. As for the alleged murderers, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson and Wardell Poochie Faust, both of them reportedly passed away from unrelated causes. So even if all these claims are true, the ones directly responsible for the deaths of Tupac and Biggie aren't around to face justice. Apart from literal police investigations, there has been a whole bucket load of hints from within the rap industry that Diddy was responsible for Tupac's death. Back in 2018, the rap world was shaken when Eminem dropped his scathing diss track, Kill Shot. While the track was aimed at Machine Gun Kelly, it also took a direct shot at Diddy, suggesting that he might have been involved in the infamous murder of Tupac Shakur. The line in question sparked a massive buzz, and all eyes turned to Puff as everyone wondered how he would respond. One person who had a front row seat to the aftermath was Joe Budden. On his popular podcast, Joe opened up about a private conversation he had with Diddy. According to Joe, Diddy wasn't pleased with the accusation, but kept his statement brief and cryptic. He reportedly said, "Nothing to speculate about, nothing to talk about. Puff said it's in his hands, and he said I can say it, and that's the end of that." Puff wanted to handle the matter privately and didn't want to escalate the situation further. Of course he did. For Joe, this was more than just a rap feud. He felt that the accusation against Diddy was a serious matter that went beyond the realm of music. He said, "This is bigger than rap. That's bigger than rap. And I'm getting out of here because I'm afraid." Joe wanted no part in the beef and considered it too dangerous to get involved in. Jumping ahead to 2019, things got even messier for Diddy, when an alleged ex-girlfriend, Gina Hewen, who also goes by Virginia Fev, came forward with shocking accusations against the Bad Boy rapper. Gina claimed that their relationship was filled with physical, emotional, and mental abuse. She stated that Diddy constantly compared her to Cassie, his long-term girlfriend, and would belittle her, making her feel like she was the bad one compared to Cassie, whom he considered the good one. Gina detailed one disturbing incident when Diddy allegedly assaulted her, even doing so in front of rapper King Loss. She described how things escalated later on in a hotel, with Diddy violently grabbing her face, causing her nose to bleed. The only person who offered any help during these fights, according to Gina, was D-Rock, while others turned a blind eye. But the most shocking revelation came when Gina claimed that Diddy had allegedly paid her to have not one, but 2 abortions. She disclosed that the first time she got pregnant in October 2014, Diddy reportedly offered her $50,000 to get rid of the child. Gina said she turned down the money because she genuinely loved him and wanted to prove that she wasn't with him for his wealth, but because she cared about him. According to Gina, her relationship with Diddy lasted for 5 years, which means it would have overlapped with his high-profile romance with Cassie. Throughout the interview, Gina also made several other accusations against Diddy, including claims that he was currently dating Steve Harvey's stepdaughter, Lori Harvey, and even alleged another physical altercation where he allegedly stomped on her stomach. As of now, Diddy has not publicly responded to any of these serious allegations, leaving the public in suspense about how this situation will unfold. Truth be told, I very much doubt that anyone can bring Diddy to justice now, but you never know, right? That's all for the video, folks. Thanks for watching, folks.